Here. I was going to start it off a little technical, telling you, what to expect, how much money you're, going to end up spending on camera, software, things like that. And more importantly, and information that's really hard to find, is how much money you can expect to make from it, which is not very much, okay? Because that's the number one question I get. So I want to share that information with you guys just for myself.
And not very much is a lot in this industry.
I'm not gonna, not gonna share that. Okay, so let's just start with this. In this industry, there pretty much are no rules if you're good enough. So I'm going to be giving you some tips and some pointers of things that I think is successful strategies. But again, if you're really funny or you're really intelligent or clever, it'll come through over the camera and people will pick up on it. You just have to establish your audience. Like if you're funny enough, charismatic enough, and interesting to watch, there are no rules. So you can get away with pretty much anything.
Silence!
It's important to know that this business is just as much about luck as it is about talent. It really is. If it not had been for this wonderful man sitting to my right, picking me up on that guy with the glasses, I probably wouldn't have been able to reach the level of doing this, as a full-time job on my own. Previously, I was just on YouTube struggling to try to make it there. So, like I said, it's important to go in this with a passion for what you're doing, whether you're talking about games, whether you're talking about movies, comics, or something more creative like maybe the next cooking show for nerds or geeks, or something cool like cosplay, how to do some cosplay stuff. So anyway,
if I can add to that, something I always want to make very, very, very clear, because he's very true that it is very much the luck factor does play a big part in it, and something that's very, very important. I think a lot of people, like when they go to California, Hollywood, all that stuff, they figure out is that if you're gonna do this, you have to do it because you love it. You have to do it because you would be doing it anyway, because there's a very large possibility you won't make it. I mean, we all have faced that possibility. If you do, great, but you want to be able to say by the end that it was still worth it. Like, even if you went nowhere and never got anywhere, you're glad you did because you're doing what you love and you tried it. So I think that's very, very important. If you're doing it like, I'm doing this to get rich, or I'm doing it to get famous, you're gonna, even if you get famous, you're gonna fail because you can't go in for that reason. So yeah, just want to add that.
Okay, so I guess I'll just get started here. Noah gave a great presentation yesterday. I don't know if you were in his. Right here. He had Jasper bullet points and all sorts of stuff. So I'm probably going to have him speak for just a little bit. But I wanted to say first that we have different approaches to this. My advice to you, his advice to you, if you didn't go to that panel, was, you could do it on the cheap. For example, Benzai has like a flip phone camera. He was using the shittiest camera.
He used to operate on a flip camera that was maybe $60.
I don't think this is working.
It's very quiet.
Okay.
Because he's French.
Go ahead.
He was operating on a camera that was about $60 for a long time, even up to the first anniversary show we did, and he did upgrade eventually, but for a long time he was shooting on the most ghetto camera I'd ever seen.
Yeah. It was pretty bad, but my advice to you is basically to increase your chances. I recommend that you bring your production values up above everybody else. So you're starting bare minimum, HD quality, great lighting. Don't be sitting in a dark room, something like that. Just have good lighting, make it your production quality good, because if you look like your broadcast quality, it will grab people's attention. It's going to set you apart from the rest, and that's what you want. You want to be set apart from the rest.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is you need to make your show pleasant to listen to. When you start making it look ugly, if it's really hard to see, you got to light it well. You got to make it look good. You got to be, you got to look somewhat. I mean, not. You got to look clean. If it looks like you're broadcasting out of a bunker in Afghanistan, it's not going to be very pleasant to listen to if your audio is not good. If
Who like listening to Bin Laden? I can't.
But like I said, you could always break the rules because there's Brad Jones, Cinema Sound. But see, if you're good enough, you can break the rules. But I'm just telling you tips to help you out to get you.
What I was going to say to that is that he is right. If you can get stuff to make it look good, try as hard as you can to make it look good, but work within your limitations. So much good stuff can come from your limitations. But Brad, for example, the reason Brad stuff works with, You know, so it's sort of the crummy looking camera and the, you know, not wearing the shoes and stuff like that. It's because, well, I mean, wait, the stuff he reviews is on that level anyway. You know, so it actually really works. And the way, you know, he slicks his hair back, you know, and he's got the big glasses and stuff. It's like, you can see this kind of character doing it this way. Or even Keith, like his stuff, you know, is supposed to be sort of like shot in the 90s and stuff, and so the camera sort of looks semi-oldish and stuff, but it still looks professional. You can tell it's intentional. I think that's what's important. So even if you don't have the best of everything, you don't have the best lighting, the best whatever, try to make it better. If you can't, work with it, incorporate it in, have fun with it.
Yeah, that camera right there, so I recommend prosumer cameras. If you know, the hardest part is picking out a camera. You say, well, what do I need? How do I pick out a camera? Go to this website. It's super easy to remember, camcorderinfo.com. That's it. They have a list of like top 50 cameras, and they break it down, and they go in and they review every single little aspect, you know, aspect ratio, formats, you know, CCD chips, and all sorts of stuff. That right there is a Panasonic TM700. It's called a prosumer camera, so it's in between consumer cameras and like the real professional stuff. And so that's going to cost you between $400 to $700. But you know, that's used. New, it can go to $800 to $1,000. And I know you use a $3,000 camera.
Well, after the batteries I bought and the microphones, yeah, around $3,000.
Yeah. So I mean, but you made a good point in your panel about hard drive versus tape. For the longest time, I was on tape because I wanted to do like high action, and I was also filming my football practices. I was doing flag football, and the hard drives, when they first came out, you barely tap it, it would like reset the hard drive, and it would have to shut down and restart. But now hard drives have caught up with technology. Do a hard drive camera. They're the easiest because you're just sitting down in front of, you're doing your web show, you plug it up to a computer, press a button, transfers to the computer, you have everything right there. You don't have to sit there and wait with the tape.
Tape takes 1-for-1 time to play. You have to play it back into your computer. So if you have 3 hours of footage, it takes 3 hours to put in your computer. I would personally go SD cards. And instead of a hard drive, I love SD cards. It's much faster to upload to your computer.
Well, and to add to that, with the tapes, I did tapes for a very, very long time, and they work okay, but I mean they usually take longer. And the big problem I found is that when you film as much as you do doing this, the tapes get wrecked and they start to skip and they get scratches and stuff like that. And that there's a lot of time, or like what used to happen is that suddenly a tape would get like really scratched up at the end, and maybe the last 10 minutes of something I shot is pretty much unusable. So I mean, it's not all the time, but if you use the tape long enough, it will happen. So I'd say they're totally right about that. If you can stay away from tapes, great. If you have to use them, okay, but there's better choices out there.
I know a lot of people swear by DV tapes though, and won't use anything else. The reason being is you can archive the tapes. It's a physical, tangible thing you can put in the closet, and you have it, and you can catalog it. I don't see the logic in that really, because if you want to archive something, I have a load of external hard drives. I have like 8 terabytes of hard drives externally that I keep and just keep physically safe. So all my project files, all my raw footage is on those hard drives. The tapes, I don't see the point really, because SDs are just faster.
Yeah, and another really important aspect is the sound quality. Now, I'm one of the worst offenders for this. I used to have good sound quality when I was using my tape. I was actually in a different location, but I switched, and I've got tile everywhere now. So I'm standing sort of almost in my front doorway, and the sound reverberates off everything. And he made some really good points. You know, if that's going to happen, you want a directional shotgun mic. I'm using it now. That is actually the Rode shotgun mic. I swear by it. Buy that one, because that one's really good. If you're just sitting in front of the camera and you're just talking and you're giving your show, that's the kind that you want. But mine's still kind of crappy because of the echo, and if your camera's far away, you're still going to get that echo. So what you have to do is you have to go and buy a boom mic, where it's like a stand and it comes up over you, and then you just drop down that, put an extender, and wrap it so it plugs in your camera.
Now, boom mics are much harder to do on anything. Boom mics tend to, the microphone input on that thing is like a stereo jack. It's that like this jack on your headphones. If you're trying to boom it, you have a special kind of microphone that has an XLR input. You know, basically like this. There's an input on the back of this that's fairly hefty. most cameras, most prosumer level cameras don't have that. So if you actually want to boom your shots, you have to have a camera that takes the XLR inputs, and anytime you do that, you're basically tacking $1,500 onto the price of your camera. The reason being is these cameras need what's called phantom power.
You mean microphone?
Yes.
You're taking advice from this man, people know.
Microphones require a separate power source to do, and so most cameras don't do that. So the easier method most often is get a camera with like a microphone jack that's small. That one does that.
And you can really only get that on the prosumer level when you have an accessory shoe. Like I said, that website will help that out.